Welcome to Simbach Designs. Mike Worley here. Today we are going to add a table of contents and an alphabetical index to a directory generated by the Microsoft Word mail merge function. Along the way, I will demystify auto-marking an index using a concordance file. First, please look at the finished product achieved using the techniques I will show you. Here is the table of contents like the one we are going to build today. Click a page number and you jump to that item's location in the directory. These hyperlinks are preserved even when the document is converted to a PDF. Now, let's look at the alphabetical index. Such an index is absolutely necessary in complex documents with many entries, as in a business directory or drug formulary. Normally, these directories are generated by an Excel spreadsheet or other database. Marking an index with 1,000 entries one by one is unrealistic. I am going to show you how to auto-mark an index using a concordance file. It sounds difficult, but it is really very easy. The whole process takes less than 10 minutes, and the results are amazing. It's tricky, but we'll show you how to do it with ease. Let's get started. First, you need a directory created in mail merge. Here is my demo. Note that I purposely left space before the directory entries, where we will put our intro text and table of contents. Now the directory is set up for 3 columns. That is good for our directory listings, but not our introduction or our table of contents. We fix that by inserting our cursor just below the table of contents and inserting a next page section break. We do this by going to the ribbon above, select Layout, then Breaks, then Next Page in the Section Breaks area. This will force a page between the table of contents label and the directory entries. Now, set the area as 1 column. You do this by going back to the ribbon Layout tab and selecting 1 column in the Columns section. This should not affect the 3-column directory entries. If it does, try again. Next, insert your cursor just above the table of contents label and insert another section break just like the one we created just after the label. This will give us space for the introduction and the table of contents. First, we will add some text for the introduction. I have some already prepared. I will copy and paste it in the beginning of the document. There, that looks good. Now let's do our table of contents. A word about tables of contents. Word generates them based on the font styles you have designated as markers for different levels of your table of contents. The default setup uses H1, H2, and H3. This setup gives you a table of contents showing the page of each item that is in the H1 style. Then, it goes on to nest each H2 and H3. You can, however, change that if you need to. I need to, because I am using some proprietary software to group the entries. Let me show you what I mean. In the ribbon, select the References tab and go all the way to the left to the Table of Contents drop-down. Select Custom Table of Contents and a widget appears. Lower right, select Options. A new widget appears. You will note 2 columns, the available styles and the TOC level. They will probably be checks by H1, H2 and H3. This is okay if those are your markers, but if not, we change them here. Like I said, I need to change them, so I delete the numbers from the default configuration and scroll down to level 1, 2 and 3 and mark them appropriately. Click OK again, and your new table of contents should be generated. Very cool. Just as advertised. Let's test it. We'll click Primary Care Providers under Pasco County and there we are. It worked. Now, we will add the alphabetical index. This is a little more work but not much. We are going to use the data sheet we used to generate the directory listings to create an alphabetical index. We do this, first, by opening that data sheet and renaming it whatever you want. I would just add 4 index to the existing name. We rename the file so we don't mess up the database we are using for the directory. Next, we create 2 new columns, one for the full name and title of our practitioners, and one for the last name first arrangement for each practitioner. We need the full name arrangement to find the entry we want. Then, when that entry is found, we want to print the last name first arrangement. Name the empty column to the far right first. Then, the column to the near right, name it last first. Now we will create a formula to bring the name columns together as a full name. Start in the formula for full name in the J2 cell. Add an equals sign to begin the formula followed by a G2 for the first name. Follow G2 by an ampersand. The ampersand connects things in an Excel formula. Follow the ampersand by a quotation mark, a space and another quotation mark. This puts a space between the first name and the middle initial. Now add H2, the middle initial followed by another ampersand, a quotation mark, a space then another quotation mark. We finish the formula by adding a final ampersand and I2 for the last name. Press enter and the full name of the first practitioner should appear. To copy the formula to all the other practitioners, click and drag the lower right-hand corner of the first practitioner's full name. This will populate all full names. Now, back to the top, and we will create a formula for the last name first arrangement. We start in the first empty cell in the first column with an equals sign followed by the cell name for the last name, F2. Next, an ampersand followed a quotation mark then a comma, and a space closed by another quotation mark. Another ampersand adds the first name, G2. Another ampersand, quotation mark, space and quotation mark, an ampersand adds the middle initial, H2. Next an ampersand, followed by a quotation mark, a comma, a space and a quotation mark allows you to attach the title with an ampersand and I2, the title. Hit enter and the name should appear last name first. Just like we did the in full name column, we click and drag the lower right-hand corner to populate the other entries. Now select both the full name column and the last name first columns. We are going to use this selection to create the concordance file we will use to auto-mark our index. It is very important to have the full name on the left and the last name first on the right. The way a concordance file works is the items on the left are marked and the items on the right are alphabetized and printed out in the index. You wouldn't want the reverse and indexed by first name. That would be a mess. Anyway, let's move on. Copy the 2 columns to a new Word document. Save it. I would name it 4 index. This is your concordance file that we will use to auto-mark the index. Back to the Layout tab in the ribbon. Select Breaks, Next Page, which will give us a section break between the last entry and the index we are going to now generate. Again, to the ribbon, select Columns, 1 column. We will use the Index tool to set our index at 2 columns. That comes later. Now, on the ribbon above, select References and go to Index, Insert Index. The index widget will appear. Make sure Right Align Page Numbers is selected, Tab Leader is set for a string of dots, Indent is selected, and 2 columns is selected. If so, click Auto Mark and browsing window opens that allows you to select the concordance file. When you select the file, your screen will go nuts with formatting marks. Just go to the ribbon, select the Home tab and click the formatting toggle switch. It is the big fancy P. The mess will disappear, but you still have no index. Here's where Microsoft fails. The next steps aren't intuitive, and it took me forever to figure them out because there is very little documentation on this. Well, now there is. Back to the ribbon, select the References tab and once again go to Index, insert Index and the Index widget will once again appear. Make sure all the settings are correct. I usually have to set Right Align Page Numbers again. Then click OK. Now your index will be generated. I usually check a few entries for accurate page numbers to see if something went wrong, but I have never observed an error. Well, before we close, let me show you 2 very important skills. You need to know how to update the index and the table of contents. First, the table of contents. Let's go back to the front of our document. Where the table of contents starts, right-click anywhere in the TOC to select it and click Update Table. A small widget appears asking you if you want to update the page numbers only or the entire table. We will select the entire table and note that our table of contents is updated. It worked. Now, back to the index. It is easy to update also. Right-click anywhere within the index, and the whole index will be selected. Next, hit F9 and the updated index will be regenerated. That's all there is to it. I am sure you found this much easier than expected. We've created a table of contents, an alphabetical index in a document we created with the directory function of Word Mail Merge. In the process, we have learned a little about Excel formulas and concordance files as well as the quirks in auto-marking an index. I have enjoyed our time together, and I hope you have also. It is, at this point, that I will mention that we offer complete directory or catalog generation. If you find this is beyond you and you want us to create your document, we have proprietary software that can group up to 4 levels and display dynamic headers. Have a look at simbach.com for more information or use our email, info@simbach.com. Your questions or comments will be greatly appreciated. Please subscribe. I can't tell you how much it means that you subscribe. If I am to be eligible for YouTube monetization, I need to have 1,000 subscribers. I'm way short of that. We need your support to continue. Please subscribe now and see all the great tutorials we have now and will have in the future. Thank you for taking the time to watch this video. Best wishes always and good day.